The first year I taught this course, I actually dedicated a whole day to true or false equations, and now I don't. Because it really is nothing more or less than checking the problem and seeing if the solution works. So, as we look at this first do it question, it says true or false. And then it says, does the square root of 4 plus 9 equal the square root of 4 plus the square root of 9? What's the square root of 4 plus 9? That would be the square root of 13. What's the square root of 4? 2. By the way, on the test, I would say between the two classes, on the question about what's that distance, which I think was like 1b or 2b or something, way too many people left at the square root of 25. We talked many, many times. When you cannot figure out the square root, you don't go to a decimal. But when you can figure out the square root, you figure it out. If I see the square root of 4, I don't leave it the square root of 4. What do I write? 2. Okay. And what's square root of 9?
3.
Oh, wow.
3. Yes. That's what I mean about academic maturity. Sarah E. just punched herself in the face. Listen, if I go up against a team, if I go up in a wrestling match, if I go up in a softball game, and the other team beats us because they're better than us, I never get upset. Because you're not always the best. I'm not always the best. My team's not always the best. I get angry as angry can be if we're better than them and we blow it. Sometimes it's not a matter of them beating you, it's you beating yourself. How many people feel like as they looked at their mistakes on the take-home test, it was you beating you? Isn't that like a sickening feeling?
Yeah.
Doesn't it annoy you? Well, the next time you get something like that, ask yourself, would you rather wait till the last minute, or would you rather experience the sickening feeling? I think the answer to that's pretty obvious. Okay, 2 plus 3 is 5. Is 5 the square root of 13?
No.
No, therefore it is?
False.
False. Good. Okay, next one. 1/2 plus 1/3. The beauty is nowadays you guys get a calculator. So you just take the calculator. This is going to be 3/6 plus 2/6 is 5/6. I get 5/6 equals 5/6. What is this one, everybody?
True.
True. Good. What's 3 squared? 9. 4 squared? 16. What's 9 times 16?
144.
Nice. Okay, what's 12 squared?
144.
True, false?
True.
True. Okay. So that was all of the, we went from lesson 32 to lesson 34. That was lesson 33, or 33 to 35, whatever it was. That was the one in between. Okay. Next up, publishing company orders black and blue ink in bulk for its 2-color printing process. To keep things simple with its ink supplier, each time it passes an order, or places an order, for blue ink, it buys B gallons. So I like to circle stuff like this because it keeps it like focused in my mind. And each time it places an order for black ink, it buys K gallons. So B is blue, K is black. Over a 1-month period, the company places M blue and N black. So what is M plus N? And just, what does it represent? Spencer?
Orders of, 1 order of blue ink plus 1 order of black ink.
It's the total orders of ink, because M orders of blue, N orders from black. So if I take the blue and the black and add them up, which is M plus N, the orders, I get the total number of orders of ink. It doesn't have to be one order, okay? It's one total order. Next one, MB plus NK. What would that be? Come on now, think it through. Well, what does M represent again?
Blue.
Number of gallons of blue. I'm sorry, represents the number of orders of blue. And what does B represent?
Gallon.
Gallons. So if it tells you how many orders and then how many gallons per order, what do you got all together?
Gallons of blue ink.
The gallons of blue ink. Likewise, this is the gallons of black ink. Okay? So altogether, I got the gallons of blue plus the gallons of black. So altogether, that's the total number of gallons. Does that make sense? Okay? By the way, I think on tomorrow's Do It, this is the same exact question will be on tomorrow's Do It, because I think it's going to take 2 days to get this understood. Now, if this is the total number of gallons, right, and this is the total number of orders, then this is the gallons per order. Okay? Gallons per order. All right? Any questions? Okay. And like I said, tomorrow you're going to get the same exact question. So I wouldn't go, like I would look it over at home, but I wouldn't go nuts, and I'd be ready for it. Okay. Company placed twice as many orders for black ink than for blue ink in January. Give interpretations of the following expressions of the orders placed in January. Well, this is gonna be the part that's blue, and this is gonna be, or the percent of the orders that's blue, and this will be the percent that's black. Okay? Right, this is the blue out of the whole total, and this is the black out of the total. And percent is part over whole, so that's the blue part out of the whole, and this is the black part out of the whole. All right. Now, inequalities. We're going to work inequalities today, we're going to work inequalities tomorrow. The idea is by the time we're done with tomorrow, we have a full, complete, robust understanding of inequalities. So, a squared equals 25. We started to talk a little bit about this yesterday. A squared equals 25 technically has two answers. What are the two answers? Everybody? 5 and negative 5. Now, we don't usually think in terms of negative 5, but it is still one of the answers. So, in set notation, for a squared equals 25, there's two answers, negative 5 and positive 5. By the way, do you remember doing this absolute value?
Yes. Train track.
Train tracks if you want, prison bars, whatever you want to call them. So, if I said the absolute value of 5, I get 5. And if I said the absolute value of negative 5, I get 5. Some people, when they do absolute value, they mistakenly say, oh, it just makes everything, I'm sorry, it does make things positive or 0, but they think the absolute value of negative 5 is 5, and some people mistakenly think this answer should be negative 5. That will never happen to you if you remember what absolute value means. Absolute value means the distance from 0. What's absolute value mean? How far is negative 5 from 0?
5.
How far is 5 from 0? 5. So absolute value always makes it positive for those reasons. Now, set notation is when we put those little squiggles there. And the set itself is whatever goes inside those squiggles. Negative 5 and 5. A lot of kids have a hard time drawing this one. This one most kids are good at. Bless you. Maybe if you're lefty, it works the opposite. Yes?
Does it matter which one you put first?
Yes and no. No, I would grade it right either way. So that's all she cares about. But yes, in that there's style points. Like for instance, today I wore gray slacks. I did not wear, I wore black shoes. I wore a blue shirt, put a little color in the tie because everything was kind of monotone. And then I came to pick the sweaters. I own 37 sweaters. Yep. So I could have chosen, for instance, like one of those ridiculous Christmas sweaters. You ever see those? That would not go. So that didn't get picked out. I could have picked a lot of different ones, and I was considering at one point going with a vest rather than this. But do you remember how cold it was at the library last week? It was freezing, so I wanted to make sure I had a sweater for the library night. All right. So I needed something functional, but that would fit in with the color scheme here. So I had one of these in bright yellow, but I didn't quite think it was right for the occasion. You with me on that? That would have been tacky. Now, if I put the 5 before the negative 5, that's math tacky, all right? So we like to go in increasing order from lowest to highest. So that's why the negative is traditionally first, but I would not mark you wrong if you did it that way, all right? Of course, when you walked out of the room, I'd say, God, what an ugly sweater with those pants. But anyway, I guess you get the idea. Okay, so we've talked about set notation, and we've done a little set notation during the year already. Okay. What's the solution set for this? X squared equals negative 25. The dominator, what do you think?
Wouldn't it be negative 5?
Is negative 5 times negative 5 negative 25?
Nope.
No.
No. In the real number system, it doesn't have a solution. But you're going to get a little older, and in 11th grade, you're going to take a course called Algebra 2 Trig. Oh, you guys will be 10th grade. Algebra 2 Trig. And you will learn that the answer to this is 5i. I is short for imaginary numbers. All right. So that was just a tidbit of trivia we threw out on that one. Try this solution here. Go ahead.
This one have an answer?
Do it.
I don't understand.
I will never test you on the fact that the square root of a negative has an I in the answer, so don't worry about it.
Thank you.
That was just trivia. Trivia means just something to throw out there. Yes.
I think I have an answer.
You think you have the answer? What do you think the answer is?
X is less than 3.
I really appreciate the fact that you used all three of those. This is really, really, really important. I want to juxtapose these two things. 3x minus 1 equals 8. When I solve this and I add 1 to both sides, I get 3x equals 9. Then I divide by 3. And a lot of times, even if we write x equals 3 on our paper, in the answer space we only write the number 3. And that's because when you get an equation, what the equation is saying to you is this. Out of all the numbers in Numberland, Numberland kind of floats around like the internet, right? No, seriously. Where are our websites located?
Nowhere.
Like, is there like this place in Iceland? I know they have servers in Iceland, but is there this place that you go to say, oh, there's the website, look at the cute little website? No, somehow it floats around in cyberspace. We don't see it, we don't touch it, we don't feel it, but it's out there. And just like that, we have Numberland. And numbers float around in Numberland. So as these numbers are floating around, when I solve this equation, I'm saying what's the only number in all of Numberland? So that 3 times that number minus 1 equals 8, and I work it out, and it's 3. So I don't need to write x equals 3. I could just write 3, because that's the only answer. When I do this, same technique. You guys remember this from last year, right? 3x is less than 9, divide by 3, and Spencer gave the perfect answer. You see, the fact is that there's not only one answer to this. There are an infinite number of answers. Any number less than 3 works. For example, let's try 0. What's 3 times 0?
0.
Minus 1.
Negative 1.
Is that less than 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Any number less than 3. So the first thing we learn about inequalities is whenever we express an inequality, I have to put all 3 things down. I have to put the inequality, I have to put the variable, then I have to put the inequality, then I have to put the number. If I leave any one of those 3 out, I'm automatically wrong. AJ? Guys, do this one very quickly.
I think we said, if we substituted x for 3, 3 times 3 is 9, minus 1 is 8.
Right, so it has to be less than rather than less than or equal to. This guy works out to be n is greater than or equal to 6. And for that one, you would get it involved in it. All right, tomorrow we'll get a little more in depth on inequalities. Today, just remember the things we spoke about. Make sure you use all 3 parts to your answer. Hasta la vista, vaya con Dios, toodaloo, ta-ta. Arrivederci, smile a lot, ciao, arrivederci. Adios amigos y amigas. Cheerio, garushurus.